Hi, my name is Ryan Thielen. I'm the director at Triglass Productions. Today I'm going to share a very exciting project with you called Elemental for the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to jump into our pre-production process, what we kind of experienced in video production with COVID, and how we brought it all together in post. I think what really excited me about this year's video is it's pretty abstract, but it's rooted in the uniqueness of what the Pacific Northwest has to offer. And I think that's something that can really connect emotionally with the fans, but also giving an experience that's something different, a bit more than just a hype video. And I think that's something we're always striving for. The big ask this year was to come up with something a bit more upbeat, colorful, kind of an uplifting piece. Last year we had traveled through several states in the Pacific Northwest. We had captured a ton of footage. We had access to the players, and that's just something we didn't have that luxury this year. But regardless, the pre-production process really didn't change, and we were still able to put something together that we felt was still the best concept. And it wasn't that we necessarily had to build or sacrifice quality just because we couldn't be in person. It was just an opportunity to try something a little bit different. There's a bit of mystery in that you see these diamond-shaped temples and we don't really know what they are. And once the players enter these temples, you're kind of revealing the various elements of the Pacific Northwest, and they literally touch and connect with their element. And even the way that they interact with the element was supposed to be very similar to the way they actually play the game. I think the hardest thing for me when I'm trying to pitch kind of our team's creative is that often it's not something that we've done before. We really don't produce videos that are similar to each other. If you go on our website and look, they all have a different flavor, and that's great, but it's also really hard to describe sometimes what this video is going to look like. We do our best to describe to the client exactly what we're going for through mood board images, even editorial examples. Here's a good example of this. This is an image that almost is identical to what made it in the video. I mean, this is where not only the team, but the client starts to get really excited because we know that we can deliver on these concepts. And then once we really had a story and a concept that we thought that would connect with the viewer on an emotional level, on a significant level, then we started figuring out how we were actually going to make the thing. The interesting part of production this year was just finding creative solutions on how to film everything and how to get it all done. So this open particularly had been done over the course of several different shoots, and especially having just some of the restrictions with COVID and acquiring permits and locations and having a certain amount of people on set, it did make it rather difficult. And so that's kind of how we approached the project. We kind of cut into these forest shots with Bobby, and this is all stuff we shot in Minnesota. And I think it matches and works really well with the stuff we actually shot in the Pacific Northwest last year. Shooting underwater is a lot more difficult than you'd even think it would be, because for the shots that we needed, we actually had to be about 10, 12, 15 feet deep. Which is really not easy, and it's not easy to light for. And I just so happened to be scuba certified, so I was able to go down there and get the shots myself, which was really kind of wild. As a director, I think what's most exciting working at Triglass is knowing the level of talent that we have. A concept this abstract that hasn't really been done before is something that we can absolutely pull off, even with all of the challenges. It's something that I take a lot of pride in, and our team takes a lot of pride in. It was actually really interesting how the edit came along. It was really a pretty amazing group effort that everybody kind of was a part of, from sourcing clips that hadn't been used from the previous year's shoot to finding those match cut moments and that kinetic energy that you see. So I was honored to be a part of that. On a side note, really excited about the music selection this year. I don't think I've ever seen a client so excited about a song selection. This one kind of had that spiritual nature to it and hype that it needed to kind of drive the piece. And it just so happened that the artist is also from Seattle. When we were introduced to the inside of the temple, you'll notice these little triangular structures. I don't think you can really tell, but in the video we had placed 12 of them around the elements, so that was kind of fun. And I think our team actually takes a lot of pride in putting in little details like that. I think just that attention to detail is something that sets us apart, and you kind of feel it throughout the whole piece. You know that there's been a lot of love and passion put behind this project. So that's just one of those little details. One of the big things we had to figure out was how we were going to have these players actually walking in the temple and interacting with the temple, which is really tough. This ended up being a green screen shoot where our talented compositors had to place Russell and Lockett and Bobby inside of each of their temples, interacting with elements. Originally in the creative, it was more of a energy ball. And as we kind of moved throughout the process, we really just kind of fell into the orb turning into more of just a physical representation of each element. Yeah, and then we have these incredible 100% CGI shots like this temple shot, beautiful concepting and work, really exciting as a director to have the flexibility and capability to pull off shots like this. Yeah, looking at some of these shots that we composited together, I mean, for example, this Lockett shot right here, we shot this in a lake and the water was brown. And he was able to successfully bring it all together believably with shots that we took last year on the Oregon coast. So you really can't tell a story like this without incredible artists behind it. I'm just very, very excited and honored to have the team that we have here. Color has been something that has been built into our creative as well, and kind of a storytelling piece for us. I mean, every time we see Lockett, we really try to push the blues. And when you see Russell, everything's a bit more desaturated and kind of mountainous and stormy feeling. And Bobby, it's really pushing those greens and bringing it closer to that Seattle Seahawks green. You never know how the fans are going to react to it. And so when it went live, just seeing the overwhelmingly positive response from the fans, even the players commenting on the video, was just really exciting for our team and obviously the Seattle Seahawks organization. So you see that emotional connection that the fans have with the piece that goes deeper than just kind of a typical hype video that you forget about. It's really exciting, and you can see that in the comments, and it's insane. I mean, that's really gratifying to see. I'd like to thank the Seattle Seahawks for the opportunity to work on this awesome project on behalf of the entire Triglass Productions team. Check us out on triglassproductions.com, as well as any of our social media platforms like Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. We'll be posting more director commentary work as we move forward.